Hey, what's up? This is Chosen, and I want to talk about a topic right here that I saw massively being discussed in the Diablo 4 community with over 6,000 upvotes and even got locked here by moderators. That's how you know it got a little bit out of control and a little bit spicy when it's locked and you can't even leave a new comment. But yeah. Also, a couple things really quick. Sorry, I was gone for a day or two. Things are crazy right now. I'm working on some big things that I can announce publicly pretty soon here within the next few days, hopefully, and I'll definitely keep you in the loop here on the channel. I'm not quitting Diablo or anything. I'm gonna be doing my normal stuff here on the channel, but there's some big things that are gonna be changing and being announced here pretty soon that I'm really excited about. And then also, this channel wasn't gonna turn into bashing Diablo 4 or every video being negative or anything. I am working on some collaborations with other creators and more tier lists and more positive content covering season 1, but I do want to cover what is going on in the community. I don't want to just turn a blind eye to the discussions that are happening out there, because it is important for us to cover the full context of everything happening right now in the Diablo 4 community. And unfortunately, right now things are trending a little bit in the, no, not even a little bit, are trending in the negative direction here in relation to the game and season 1, and I want to give you some of my thoughts on some of these stats and different things going on. But okay, the gist of the discussion here is Diablo 4 loses 87% of its daily peak viewership and search interest since launch, from 937,000 peak viewers at launch to 12.2 thousand peak viewership today. So like the first gut reaction to this is to be expected. Actually, people not familiar with some of the metrics around massive launches are going to see this and be like, oh my goodness, almost 90%. That's insane. The thing is, when a hyped up new game is hitting the scene, you're going to have every single big content creator in the world basically that are diving in to try out the new hot shiny new toy. And this is a bunch of like these creators and their viewers and free marketing and everybody wanting to try the new hot thing, and they don't want to miss out of current events. So there is a massive dip after that initial hype for basically every single game. I've never seen a big launch at the level of like Diablo 4 not lose a massive chunk of its daily players after 30, 60, 90 days. So I would say 87% is bad, but I would have expected it to be around 60-something%. So even though it sounds really bad, it's mostly expected when it comes to big launches being kind of hitting the scene as a new game. And then if I load up Twitch right now, we do have Diablo 4 at 15,000 viewers. Baldur's Gate 3. So right now, Baldur's Gate 3 is the new shiny toy. So they are enjoying the mass viewership right here. But remember that Reddit post said that Diablo 4 had a peak of 937,000 viewers. Well, Baldur's Gate's only a few days old and it's already down at 130. So, I mean, you can see that that is already falling off a lot as well. Remnant was a hot one recently, and World of Warcraft 39K. I mean, PoE is at 5.5. Diablo 4 is at 15,000, and a lot of people view PoE as like a healthy-ish RPG that is really doing well in the space. So Diablo 4 is still triple the size of PoE in terms of Twitch viewership. And then over there on the right, we see Fortnite at 100,000 viewers. I mean, if Diablo 4 is 15% as popular as Fortnite on Twitch, that's really not an L. Like, you know, Fortnite is so huge. If Diablo 4 can maintain somewhere between like 10 and 20,000 viewers on Twitch, I feel like that's probably the area it's most likely going to settle in at. And then we see down here like the top page streamers, my good friend DM here, riding around 1,000 viewers. And you know, obviously these numbers are down a little bit from what they were a month ago. DM was hitting numbers like 4,000 or 5,000. Woody Joe was hitting numbers I believe around like 20,000, something like that. So obviously some of the numbers are dropping a little bit, and Diablo 4's viewership isn't going to be as crazy as it is when someone like Asmongold is in the space playing the game. Kripparrian, a lot of these bigger creators that are a little bit more variety streamers and playing the hot new thing, some of those people are starting to move on and fall out of the community. So it's really not surprising these numbers are going down a little bit. But then they also talked about losing 87% of search interest. Typically in the industry, when people talk about search interest, they're talking about Google Trends. So let's go ahead and look this up and see if that is a fact check true or not. So 87%. So Diablo, if we go worldwide past 90 days, the peak is right there on that first week of launch. June 6th, I believe, is when the game got fully released globally. And obviously it's going to be the most hype at that point. So then if we fast forward to today, yep, that's a fact check true. We are at 85% loss. So depending on when they looked at this, yep, right there, that's 87. If they looked at this on the 4th and then made the topic, they are exactly right. It did lose about 87% of the worldwide Google search web velocity of the traffic demand. So just for easy numbers, let's call that 85%, which is exactly what it is. And we've got an 85% loss in about exactly 2 months. So June, and then the early part of July, and then the early part of August, we lost about 85% of the web velocity. So then let's zoom out a little bit and let's look at a game that did super well recently, and that is Elden Ring. So what did Elden Ring do in the first 2 months? This is a game that was received insanely positive in the gaming sphere. So we've got right here was the peak back in basically early March of 2022, just over a year ago. Well, about a year and a half, I guess, at this point. But so then if we go 2 months from that point, we've got early March, and we go to early April right there, and then we got to go to early May. Let's scoot on to right there. Look at that. It's at 18. So they lost 82%. So we have Diablo 4 losing about 85% of its web velocity in 2 months. And we've got Elden Ring, something that was super successful and viewed very positively, as losing 82% in the first 2 months. So only a small percentage difference between Diablo 4 and Elden Ring. And that was what I meant a little bit earlier in the video when I talked about some of this stuff seems insanely alarming. But for people like me that have been following these metrics and these numbers in the gaming industry for over 10 years at this point, I'm kind of used to what to expect on these different analytics and how the numbers are going to be shaping up as a game kind of rounds out into its actual community. Usually that time period is about 90 days. So 90 days after the launch of Diablo 4, the metrics will start to normalize, and you'll see like peaks and valleys for like a new season, and then like 2 months into a season when the game is mostly dead and everyone's just waiting for the next season, you'll see those peaks and valleys around the seasonal resets. But after about 90 days, the like hype and every single content creator on planet Earth playing the game and all of that will sort of die off, and the game will settle into its long-term community after 90 days or so. But then let's go ahead and see what some people are saying here. So season 1 is just too bare bones to sustain any sort of continued viewership. I do agree that season 1 is way too bare bones. It's kind of a double-edged sword, because Blizzard, they didn't want to go the Diablo 3 route and wait like a year and a half to have seasons, which they did the same thing in Diablo 2 Resurrected. They waited like a year and a half to have a ladder reset, and I did agree with that. I thought that was amazing when they announced they were going to do that. The problem is it's a balancing act. You try to get into seasons too soon, and then your seasons are trash, and they're too bare bones, and they're super lame. But if you wait too long to make sure you can have super hyped up, robust seasons, then you have players that are playing a game that is kind of dead, and they're just sitting around waiting for ladder resets. So there is a balancing act that is tough to do, but it would have been nice. Maybe they should have maybe waited another month or so and try to give us a little bit of a crazier season 1. I could have seen maybe a middle ground between those two polar opposites. Put a bunch of time in, then quit. Felt like I've seen everything. So what I'm seeing from like the creators and the clan mates and the Discord servers and the people that I interact with within the Diablo 4 community, most people get around at level 80 or 90, and then they really just lose the drive to log in and grind and play the game. There isn't anything to pursue, like competing for leaderboard spots against your friends, or having some sort of an end game at chase, like you're trying to get all primal gear or something. You've mostly got your build done around level 85, 90, and then it's like, okay, what do I do now? And that's kind of the point where a lot of people really start running out of the steam and the drive to log in. Itemization is boring. There isn't a single item that I find that I'm like, oh, cool, wonder what I can do with this. And I do agree. There isn't those dopamine moments where you're like, dude, I just found a primal Yang's recurve, and you're like linking it in your clan. Everybody's saying like, grats, like that's going to boost your damage by 20%. They don't have like that next tier where you just kind of like get the yellows, you imprint the aspects, and your build is done. There isn't like that uber dopamine thing to grind for in Diablo 4. That's definitely going to need to be addressed at some point here, hopefully very soon. The season has a less staying power than your average Diablo 3 season and later on in its life, and everyone on my friends list basically just hit 80-ish on their season. Okay, so yeah, I was saying I'm experiencing the same thing, around level 80 to 90. 80-ish on their seasonal character and stopped playing. Anyone who doesn't see how this is extremely concerning for a brand new game is quite willfully blind. Yeah, no, I agree. It's definitely concerning. I don't think Diablo 4, based on the metrics I'm seeing, is going to like cease to exist or completely die off. But I did say in one of my previous videos here on the channel that I do agree. I don't think patches are going to solve it. I think we're going to need to see a overhaul with like the looting system, the dopamine of the loot pursuit, going through yellows with no filter or anything, the aspects, the trading, the social aspect, the clans, the leaderboards, the end game. We're gonna need to see an overhaul. Patches aren't going to cut it, and I hope it doesn't take a year and a half like it did for Diablo 3. Diablo 3 was insanely negatively received. It was just completely trashed on, and no one liked it when it came out. And then when they finally completely stripped it down and reworked it and turned it into Reaper of Souls, the game actually became really good. I've been saying this for years, and I got a lot of flack for it. I've been telling people that when Diablo 4 comes out, it's going to make people realize how good of a game Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls is. And that's what we're seeing, is people are saying like, Diablo 4 Season 1 is making me want to go play a Diablo 3 season, because Diablo 3 seasons are really, really good. The only problem is they don't last for like 2 months. They last for like 3 or 4 weeks, and then it really falls off hard. Diablo 3 seasons are a little bit of a sugar high. It's super hype, it's super fun, and then it just crashes hard. So I was hoping with Diablo 4 we can get some of that sugar high while also maintaining a little bit more of a level drop off instead of the season just cratering. But yeah, let me know your thoughts down below, and I'm going to get to work on collaborating with some creators and getting some tier lists and some other stuff here going out to cover Season 1. But I did want to cover this because it was such a hot topic in the community with over 6,000 votes and people really wanting to discuss this kind of stuff. So I wanted to give you some context on some of the numbers and some of my opinions on what is going on currently in Diablo 4. But I appreciate all of you, and I will see you soon in the next video. Thanks for watching. Peace.